Hey guys, and welcome back to Same Ship Different Day. Yes, it's been over 100 days now since I first joined a ship on this contract. Back in February of this year, 19th of February, was when I actually joined Pacific Encounter in order to start that ferry procedure over to the Explorer, which is where I am now. So I thought I'd give you an update of what I've been doing, sort of talk about that experience and what it's like to be a seafarer, sort of so far from home for such a long period of time during this pandemic, essentially. So if you like the sound of that, we'll get going. Before I start, as always, my views and opinions don't reflect those of my employer. We'll roll the intro and get talking. Okay guys, so today marks day 102, that's 101 official days of me at sea, having not stepped foot on dry land for that entire time. Being at sea is not something that's new to me. It's all been part of my job, obviously, for years now, and I'm always being away from home is also not something that is new to me. However, not being able to get off the ship and not having the option to get off the ship, especially when it comes to the thought process and you know, mental health, I guess you could say, and the thought that even if something happened to your family or anything at home, it's highly unlikely that I would be able to disembark and do anything about it. Essentially, I'm pretty much stuck out here until my end of contract date, which is also very variable and moving. My original end of contract date was the 16th of May, and that's been and gone. We're now probably talking July, just because of all the issues of getting relievers out here, and then the process it will take for me to get home through various possible quarantine processes and things like that. And also everybody keeps moving the goalposts, so that keeps changing a lot as well. Anyway, this isn't a feel sorry for me video. There are plenty of people in probably worse positions, especially seafarers, and that's probably something I want you to think about a lot. It's not just obviously us on cruise ships, but all around the world. And during this pandemic, there's been an unbelievable amount of delays and issues with seafarers and their pay, as well as their repatriation. Some people are getting stuck on board for well over 12 months. I just thought I'd talk about this kind of experience. Today, right now, we're actually in Manila. This is only the second time we've been alongside since I joined a ship back in Feb, and it's completely, it used to be a daily occurrence and something that, you know, you just get used to. Now it seems very strange indeed to be able to see land so closely, see buildings, see other people. Today I heard a dog bark for the first time in 3 months, which is just an experience that you forget about and something that you don't really think about being away from home. But all these kind of things, like not being able to go for a walk, you know, not being able to go to the beach or out to the park, anything like this is an experience that you take for granted day to day. And it's emphasized when you're away from home as long as this. The big thing obviously as well is not being able to see my girlfriend or family and friends for such a long period of time, but that's what we sign up for as seafarers, and it is all part of the job. It's just been made a little bit more tricky by this pandemic, as most of our lives have. I'm of course one of the lucky ones that was able to retain their job during this whole pandemic. I've been fortunate enough to be employed throughout. I've been on a couple of different ships and different experiences since it began. There's plenty of people that give their right arm to be out here in my place, perhaps not in my job specifically, but obviously there are lots of unfilled roles that would normally be here on board a cruise ship, and not just cruise wise, obviously the shoreside department as well for cruise companies, as well as for other companies. Unbelievable amount of businesses and people that have come out of work during this time, so I'm certainly one of the fortunate ones in that regard, and I do not take that for granted at all. The majority of the time while we've been out here, we've been sat at anchor over at OPL Singapore, going in for monthly service calls. Obviously we had a PSSC audit go on as well, so we were alongside for a few days then. And now we've become a ferry ship for different Carnival Corporation and PCL, Holland America Line crew members, and we've brought them back to Manila. Some of them are from the Philippines, some from Europe and all around the world. And so this is part of the process now that has to happen. It used to be the good old days. You jump off the ship in a port and fly home that same day, usually even the same day that your reliever has joined as well. Now it's certainly not that simple. My reliever is on his way. Fingers crossed he's going to arrive on the 9th of June. However, from that date to me actually disembarking is a very long and unknown process really now, especially with a quarantine period that he will have to go through. And then on top of that, the time difference before a ship can go into port. Most likely at the moment it's looking like I have to get off in Singapore, and there's very tight windows for when that can happen and how far in advance. I'd have to be on a ship at least 2 weeks before that port of call due to the rules over in Singapore. So it's all many variables that we have to think about, which if you're not careful, especially, it can affect your mental health. That's something we all have to be very careful about at the moment, especially on board ships, especially on board cruise ships and other vessels around the world. Hopefully in the coming months things will be starting to get back to normal. Cruises may resume and hopefully repatriation will be more consistent, and it will be much easier for the cruise lines and for the crew to be able to join and organise all of this process. Something maybe you can think about when you next join a cruise ship, when we finally get back cruising, if you're coming on board Pacific Explorer, all those people that were here to maintain it for you for all that length of time whilst we were away. It's not an easy job. It's made especially even more hard by this process and so many variables that are now involved with working on board a ship. And also next time you have a delivery from somewhere overseas, you can think about where that item came from, what ships it might have been on to get out here, and how long those crew members might have been on board without being able to go ashore or having any sort of face-to-face communication with the outside world. It is the more difficult part of this job. It's not all fairy tales being at sea. And obviously on cruise ships usually there's a lot of benefits that aren't obviously available at the moment. So it's certainly a consideration for anyone thinking to come back to sea working, or anybody that's wanting to start a career at sea. It's certainly one of the aspects that you have to give a lot of thought to before coming out to sea. And it's certainly something I did, and I never had any problems with it. I've always loved coming out to sea in a few months at a time. Being away from home was never too much of an issue. I think it's a special strain that's put on us now with this specific scenario, really. And for me, obviously, I normally have my girlfriend on board with me as well, so it's very tough that she's having to stay at home because her job just doesn't exist on board at the moment, being a dancer. Obviously, there's plenty of perks being out here at sea as well. It's not all so depressing as I might be making it sound. Beautiful weather out here, Singapore, Manila. Obviously, to keep the ships in good condition, you want to keep them in the best weather possible, really. So we're keeping them in nicer climates like this. So that makes it a bit more enjoyable, and certainly better than being stuck home in probably a British winter and now a British summer, which doesn't seem to be too good either. We've got the pool open on the open deck, we've got the bar open on the open deck, so we're allowed to socialise out there in open air, which normally wouldn't happen. Normally our crew bar would be located indoors, down on one of the lower decks, away from the passenger areas of course. And the food's been great, to be honest. Since we've been on here, they've been doing a really good job, so it's certainly worse places to be and worse places to be working. Also, doing the YouTube for you guys is keeping me a bit sane, and hopefully you're enjoying the content that I am able to bring you during this time. This is also just a bit of an update to see where I am in the contract. I'm probably looking at another month and a half or so before I manage to get home and be bringing you some extra content from the comfort of my own home. Hopefully once that happens, I can engage a little more, and maybe do some live streams and maybe get that merchandise out to you that we've been talking about as well. Anyway, I hope I haven't bored you or depressed you too much with this update. I just wanted to see which stage we were at, and hopefully you did enjoy it. Give me a like, a thumbs up. Mention in comments if there's something maybe I missed, something you think about, or if any of you worked at sea and experienced something like this, or been going through some similar issues during the pandemic. Hopefully I'll be getting home within the next 6 weeks or so, and I'll be able to bring you a bit more content from home, maybe to start some live streams again. We can do some Q&As, stuff like that. We will see what I can get up to once I'm home, and obviously I'll keep you updated on my progress when my reliever's on board. I'm going to do a video all about Manila and this trip out here to repatriate some of the crew that managed to get off today and over the next few days. So hopefully you'll like that. If you like this one, give me a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all again very soon. Take care of yourselves and stay safe. Thanks for sticking with me right through to the end there, guys. Here's another beautiful sunset at sea, this time en route to Manila, South China Sea. A beautiful day and a beautiful sunset for you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Take care of yourselves and stay safe.